to the Esports Festival here live at the Cornhusker State Games, a unified production here. And Kendo Slice, Ken Carmen, coming to you live here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I asked the question, is Paul calling in Nebraska? I don't know. All I know is it is controller slinging time here in the Pinnacle Bank Arena. Again, folks, we are live, a two-day event as a part of the Cornhusker State Games, and I will be one of your guides throughout today and tomorrow's event. So feel free to look for me, ask questions, etc. We'll be giving you updates on the stream, some of the events that are going on. We have a very interesting day planned ahead for you. We have quite a few League of Legends matchups. My personal favorite, Rocket League, coming up later on tonight. And then we're going to be finishing up the stream with a little bit more League of Legends. I am just one of 5 voices that you will hear tonight or in the next 2 days. The other ones you'll hear, Jordan Fitzpatrick, that's FBI Tugboat. Matthew Corfey, that's Septilence. But you're going to be starting out with 2 gentlemen who I get the feeling you're going to get very familiar with, and that is Zephyr and J Turbo, Ben Fawcett and John Trevesi. We're going to be right back here after a quick break. You don't want to go away because we are starting out with League of Legends very quickly.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming to you live here from Lincoln, Nebraska, bringing you Unified's Esports Festival. I am Zephyr, joined by the lovely Jay Turbo here, as we're going to be making our way through a majority of our League of Legends content, not only today, but also tomorrow, so be sure to tune in as well. But before that, Jay Turbo, what do we have in store for today?
I mean, today format's going to be, we've got a round robin with all of our teams that we're going to be going through, and it should be super, super exciting. We're going to get to see all sorts of talent across this event, and it's just going to be a really great time to see. And then we'll be getting into a bracket later on.
Oh, maybe a variance in player skill, but hey, I'm down for any type of competition that's available here with all our lovely Cornhuskers.
We are in the Cornhusker Stadium at the Cornhusker State Games, so I mean, it's going to be a great time seeing all of them.
Well, absolutely. What do they say when you're here in Nebraska?
When in Nebraska.
When in Nebraska, baby. That being said, we will be starting with Bison versus Solo Minion. Bison, of course, being on our blue side, Solo Minion on red, and we'll be making our way towards our draft. But past that, we also have a lot of excellent activities available for you here across our entire fields.
Yeah, we've got all sorts of stuff ranging from Apex, Call of Duty, Smash, Tekken, anything you can really think of. We've probably got a table for it. There's Melee, Ultimate, everything else. It's a really great event covering everything.
Does it cover Hearthstone by chance?
It did online, but I didn't see it on the schedule for this weekend, so not sure about that.
I know that's your favorite. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I do play from time to time. A bit of a tournament player myself, but
a little bit of a pro Hearthstone individual.
Not pro, just play for my college.
No big deal. Just the big collegiate man over here on my side. I'm not even in college, ladies and gentlemen. That's a joke. I am.
He's going to be a meteorologist.
Oh, hey. Let's not get too much in the personal info here.
Oh, of course.
Yes. But I do enjoy the weather here. But past that, other than Hearthstone and any of those things, I also hear a bit of a Smash.
Well, for this weekend and this event, notably, the biggest change coming to the Rift is going to be Akshan, and he's going to be banned for this weekend, even though he's live on patch. If you play online, you can pick him up, play in your ranked games, but not here, not at this event. He's not faced that 2-week window, so we won't be having any of those hookshot shenanigans or any of those early revives coming in, but there was still quite a lot that happened this week, so it should be very interesting to see how these teams
right. We're still on patch 11.5, so we've seen some slight nerfs to individuals. Remarkably, we can look at the Viego and Gwen later on. I think they're still going to be high priority. Don't get me wrong. They're some of the best champions you can line up here in League of Legends, so hopefully we may see those on the Rift at a certain point. But past that, it's just no Akshan, which honestly, I'm very relieved.
Me as well. I mean, I think he's going to be really interesting to see, but it's a question of how good is he really going to be? You know, he's got that revive, but it's sort of coming back.
Oh, are you kidding me? He's going to be absolutely excellent. There's no champion in the game that comes through with a high tempo revive across the board. So I'm once again relieved, not just because it's a new champion and there's a lot to learn, but gosh, I do not need to see half of the team coming back in what is usually supposed to be a complete wipe.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it does allow for those game flips, but he's not going to be live tonight, so we won't be able to see any of those crazy shenanigans. But, you brought up the Viego and the Gwen and how I'm still betting that they're going to be top tier picks because they're so solid.
Oh, right now, especially since most of these teams have had the practice playing with the Gwen and Viego. Granted, we've seen some bugs and patches that have pulled them out occasionally, Viego especially. But past that, they definitely make a hard mark on most of these team statements. Past that, I might be looking towards the Ziggs. That's a hot topic pickup that has come through recently, as well as the Ezreal being very strong in the bot lane. So those are two surefire picks that I would hopefully like to see as well.
Yeah, definitely got to watch out for that. If you're looking across the jungle, we're probably going to be seeing lots of Xin Zhao, some Nocturne as well. Both been
early presence,
making their way, lots of early presence, very, very strong champions in their own right. I'm wondering if Aurelia is also going to be picked up around. Aurelia, she's been really strong at the top lane. She's tearing up 11-14 across pretty much all levels of play. Not in the jungle, but in the top and the mid.
Yeah. No, I didn't expect Aurelia in the jungle here. I'm thinking about.
But I'm saying, like, just picks coming to mind who can just take over. She's definitely one of them. Even though she did just take a slight nerf, I think she's going to be pretty strong still.
Oh, we'll definitely have to see here. Once again, we are almost on our way to that draft phase, and we'll be able to give you, of course, our big brain regarding what these teams are putting together in terms of a composition. Well, maybe not particularly me, but my buddy here, John, he is fantastic at writing that one out.
I mean, I've watched a lot of League of Legends in my time.
There you go.
So got lots of knowledge in there. You can see all sorts of comps as they come together.
Well, personally, we don't know too much regarding these teams. They are coming us live here at Lincoln, Nebraska. So we'll be doing our best to kind of work our way through it as we make it step by step.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to also be the name of the game of maybe we come into like a tournament meta where something's really strong live or something else. We've only got 6 teams, but who knows?
Who knows? It might be one of those games where the Heimerdinger is suddenly now hot meta pick at Lincoln, Nebraska here on Unified's Esports Festival. And you know what? If Heimer's something to be terrified, that's what you got to deal with.
100%. I've got a buddy. I went to school with him. Grandmaster Heimerdinger.
Grandmaster Heimerdinger.
Yeah, his rank 1, season 10.
He must have no life. I'm sorry, no praise to those who play Heimer. Not a big fan of him myself.
Understandable. I mean, I don't know what he does. He just sort of puts those turrets down, runs around, and gets LP.
I suppose that's a way to look at it if we're talking about matchup to matchup. Past that, I would love to see a bit of a mix-up in terms of any kind of champions that you don't usually get to pick, but maybe be a massive one-trick pony. So that's kind of what you mean when you say a tournament meta. If someone happens to be a major one-trick, we might have that come through in draft. For now, though, we are working through a slight tech delay. Once we're done with that, we'll be on our way to our first round.
Getting onto just making sure. Yeah, and we'll be getting on the Rift very, very soon. Just making sure, on land, sort of Murphy's Law, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And we've just been getting through as much of that as possible today. And we'll be getting the show to you very, very soon if we can see these teams face off. But I mean, like you brought up, I think that's going to be pretty relevant is that, some of these players might be one-trick ponies. They might just have that one ace up their sleeve. And it could come up with some very interesting pick and ban phases, some very interesting team compositions.
Definitely have to take a look at that. But I do have to ask you, John, I mean, we've talked enough about League of Legends as is, but there is, of course, this whole lovely event here at Unified's Esports, Cornhuskers State Games, whatever. What would you be most interested in playing here? We have so many options. You could be VR with the Beat Saber. We got lovely merch across the board. There is Smash coming through the 1v1s.
I am going to say, I'm a big Smash player in my own right. I unfortunately don't have a Switch, but I've been cranking out a lot of Melee with some friends. But it's all just a good time being able to pick up friendlies no matter where you are. It's a good time regardless. What about you? What's your go-to?
Well, I personally am very interested in the Apex Legends. I know it's not currently set, but once that comes through, Apex is my primary game that I like to play in my free time. So having that available would be absolutely huge. Past that, though, later, I do have a Switch, so maybe me and you can get together, get some practice on the board, and then you can take it there across the board to one of the zones and Try to bet someone.
I can do my best. We'll see what happens. I've got my controller in my backpack.
Oh!
See what happens.
So you did come prepared. You're looking to wipe the board here.
The Smash bracket's already started and I'm up here, but we're just I might be able to get a couple games in. Who knows?
That's right. We do have 5-minute breaks in between each game. That'll be the prime time for John to slip away and possibly find himself at that Smash table. So the minute you see Leave go away, you might as well be looking for him over there.
I don't know about that much time, but definitely tomorrow because we won't be having too much league. So.
All right. Well, we're almost ready here. Personally, though, if it's not just Apex, you can also catch me at the Beat Saber stand. I'll be looking like an absolute fool, big, lanky, and long as I am, sweeping across the imaginary boxes that come flying through.
Yeah, but I believe we are just waiting on a couple ready checks before we get into lobby. So we are going into draft actually right now.
All right. Well, let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen, at what this draft is shaping up to be here between Bison and Solomon. You see those first bands coming right off the bat.
Yeah, first bands, Echo, Viego. I'm guessing that these are probably champion targeted. Echo's been doing pretty well, but not the Viego, I mean Vigar.
Right.
Probably a target ban. The Lilia, she's actually been making a bit of a resurgence as a jungler, so I wouldn't be too surprised if maybe that's just a general ban. And the Diana and the Aurelia, both tearing it up in their own right.
So this man himself is in fact a prophet, ladies and gentlemen. He already knows the meta way before we get it in. That's a crazy thought. He is a night color cast. But past that, we do see what looks to be our first walk, and here the Bisons play 9-5-8 coming through with set.
Yeah, I think the set first pick, it's really versatile. You can flex it top, mid, support. You can do a lot with the pick, and it really just lends you that flexibility you might want early on in the draft phase. Now, the Lee Sin and the Xin Zhao, very, very strong in their own right as well. Lee Sin, a very potent laner, and Xin Zhao, one of the best junglers in the game.
And that's something of a shift that we have seen evolve here over these last couple patches. The shift from Lee Sin coming out of the jungle and having heavy presence in that kind of early game skirmish potential. Past that, though, the Viego, of course, has made his presence. No surprise there. He's one of the strongest that come through and also has that flexibility as well. But we do confirm support being Leona. So set, going somewhere else. Definitely.
Yeah, it's probably going to be top or mid. I mean, one thing that was pretty notable is a lot of the changes that were given to Viego this patch were actually to push him towards the jungle. They increased his neutral camp damage. They decreased his minion damage, decreased his healing he can get away with in lane. So it really sort of pushes him towards that jungle role. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Viego jungle.
More than likely, Funky Monkey, by the way, an absolutely excellent name. More than likely will be finding himself in the jungle. Past that, though, a pick that I don't usually see. Eric is secured here for the solo minions.
Yeah, I actually really like this Tarek pick. You're seeing so much engage. You're seeing all of this potential, reset. You've got the Set who can give you that big engage, the Solar Flare from the Leona, and the Viego who just wants to clean up. Well, if everyone's invulnerable, Viego can't clean up. So
right.
I think that Tarek could definitely be a really good answer to what's been drafted early for Bison.
And for all those of you who may not be a big fan of League of Legends who are just listening in here at our lovely, lovely event, if you hear me call out Cosmic Radiance, that's when you know everyone's going invulnerable here playing on that Tarek. Past that, though, we do see the rest of the bands come out through. Heavy pick on the 80 carries, Varus, Jhin, and Misfortune.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They're incredibly strong. I think Misfortune just got a new buff, or at the very least, she's been buffed up in these past couple patches. She's been doing well for herself. And Varus and Jhin, both very, very strong in their own right, especially as we're moving away from a few other picks that have been nerfed as of late. But this Sivir just reads safety out of solo minion.
Well, it's definitely safety, but it's going to be scaling towards that mid to late game, especially when you look at the Xin and Lee that has provided here for solo minion. You're not going to be seeing too much out of Sivir for a while.
Yeah, she's gonna be pretty patient, but we have a Twitch that's getting picked up on the Rift, and that is someone who I have not seen in a while.
Well, in terms of seeing all these bands come through, you're going to be seeing a couple picks that may have not come through in a while, but the Twitch is going to be on that same kind of spectrum as Sivir. We're going to be waiting towards that mid to late game when they both tend to scale and pop off. Granted, Wally W here on this Twitch might be sneaking through, finding the appropriate flanks, what he can do with that visibility on that Twitch. Past that, though, Bison securing Akali as their final pick.
Yeah, it's going to be an Akali going in the mid lane. I like that matchup. And is this a Lux going mid? I think that's the final lock-in for Solo Minion, and that's going to be a very, very interesting matchup, I think, to see play out. You know, the Lux and the Akali. If the Akali gets ahead, you can absolutely start to run them down. And just sort of looking at these two teams that they've all locked in, I really like Solo Minion, actually, just because they have so much synergy in the Sivir ultimate, letting them speed all through, and they can have the Xin Zhao jump on in, and Lee Sin can get a kickoff, and then Lux can just do a ton of damage. Whereas Bison, they've just got this sort of mixed skirmish where you want the Twitch and the Akali to get the right angle, but it's very tough to pull off.
Personally, though, I'm going to be laying my favorite out towards Bison. And trust me, it's not just because I want to be opposite of John here. They have great lockdown potential to capitalize on single target picks. You look at that Leona, you look at that Viego, as well as the set, they all have the CC lockdown to remove one individual. Put that on someone like Lux or Sivir when my apologies here, when the spell shield is down, then you're taking out one major target from Solo Minion, and that's an entity that's not going to be back in play.
I mean, that's very true. I will have to say, you can't argue with that. It's very, very true that if one person goes down, they just are blown up by this Bison squad. But I feel like there's enough tools for Solo Minion to sort of get away with it. You've got the Lee Sin Dragon Rage to sort of get the Viego, get set out of the team fight. You've got the Radiance to keep everyone alive. Right. You've got the Spell Shield, and you've also just got Xin Zhao's ultimate that can push everybody away. So I feel like if they can stay away from the initial engage from Bison, they've got a great re-engage with the Sivir ulti, and if they can stay alive, then this Taric is going to be incredibly useful to just allow the cleanup.
Well, it's definitely going to be a whole game of playing around windows, right? Because at the end of the day, everything that we've announced here is playing around the either reaction of someone going in for a hard engage or possibly pulling in some other direction. So in those little split seconds that you have stuff available, like the Cosmic Radiance or some of the things like a Showstopper or Solar Flare, playing around that, making a decision is going to be a huge thing. So really, at the end of the day, comp, I think they both look great, but it's really up to the players.
Yeah, it really is going to come down to execution. I mean, I said that I like Solo Minion, but it is still so tight. It's really going to come down to execution because both of these teams have so many resources they can get away with.
Well, as for us, we've discussed this as best that we can. We've given you a little bit of our prediction. Me, myself, Bison, you, of course, Solo Minion. As for that, we are going to be going to a short break as we make our way onto the Rift. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're making our way into the first round here of Unified's Esports Festival Credential.
As right there, we can just hear in the back of our head some of the players as they're just popping off, and we are getting onto the Rift, and I'm just really excited to see exactly how these teams are going to execute. As we said pre-show, it's all about execution.
Right. There's a lot of windows available in terms of some of these major ultimates. Notably, if we look down on Solo Minion, they have that Cosmic Radiance to play around that can allow for a great tool of peel or disengage. On the opposite end, Bison, the lockdown, the pick, the control, they'll delete an entity before it even gets to make a move.
Yeah, and that deletion is going to be what you're going to have to play around if you are Solo Minion. You have to make sure that your Sivir is safe, your Lux is safe, and that your other carries, this Lee Sin, the Xin Zhao, are going to be those pseudo carries. So you got to make sure that they can stay alive at the very least.
For now, though, nothing too incredible on the Rift. A pretty standard 5-point. Looking like we're getting a similar setup by both junglers starting on that bot end.
Yeah, both junglers starting on bot side. Pretty standard. You just want to get that bigger leash from your bot side. It just helps clear things up a little easier.
Right.
It helps make the game a little bit faster if you're a jungler. Now, what this does also mean is we're probably going to see a bit of a skirmish up top side as they finish their clears.
Right. I was looking on that end of the start here, trying to see where the pathing may put either Funky Monkey here on the Viego or send Bimmins on this Xin Zhao. Most likely will be this top side, as it is the volatile of lane-to-lane matchups.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty volatile, as both Set and Lee Sin known for being able to just sort of take it to another laner at just level 1 with their ease up. So that's going to be really notable to watch. And yeah, as we're back in the game, just a slight little visual bug, I think, as this mid lane matchup going about the way you expect. Akali doesn't have much flexibility of movement yet, but does want to go in.
Yeah, an excellent trade on the back end there of Canos, finding a good route. And honestly, Dragon Ruler can't let Lux puck that one out for as long as then. In the bot lane, a little bit of a dazzle trade here, and that's the difference that you'll see on that Taric. Has the sustain available as well as the hard engage. So we'll check back on that a little bit later.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he just has so much flexibility. They hit the level 2 early, and it forced heal, which means that this Twitch is that much more vulnerable when he's already a pretty immobile AD carry.
For now, though, the wave is a little bit more pushed in than I would like, especially if we want to see Sen Bimmins come in at any given point. But knowing that both teams started on the bot, and they know that there's no gank for the time.
Yeah, exactly. You can play so aggressive, use Sivir's innate wave pushing alongside Taric's ability to just stay so healthy and take up so much space.
Granted, big kahuna on this Leona, can pull the trigger at any point. Come through with the scene of play, get the lockdown. Now, we might have to wait until ultimates come online, and then you get a more secured lock through. But if Solo Minion keeps up presence in the spot lane, keeps the priority in their favor, they're more likely going to hit those ultimates in a much earlier time period, which allows them to play around that Cosmic Radiance, which the best peel tool here.
It is the best tool. I mean, if you see them start to step forward, if you see that set go for, the showstopper, then it doesn't even matter. You can really just press R, your team goes invulnerable, and you will just win the fight.
And that's why we have to make sure that they aren't taken out that quickly. And I say all this as Dragon Ruler is pressured out of lane there. And one thing I want to bring up, because it is a slight difference between these mid laners currently, is their summoner choice. Dragon Ruler comes in this lane looking to dominate from the beginning, picks that Ignite, right? And you're making the trade because Janos, come on, playing Lux, now obviously not going to have major kill pressure, but the teleport in the later stages of the game, having the ability to go cross map can be monumental.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will touch on that, but we might see a fight up topside as Sen Bimmins is coming in.
Sen Bimmins here, unable to get what the launch he wants there onto play. And sadly, no major movement speed distance. Gets a little bit of that slow, but gank's over.
Yeah, gank's over. Can't do much when you just don't get the right angle. And I think that, they just weren't able to get the timing right. Although bot side, okay, now just big wave. I was expecting something maybe a little bit more But back to sort of the point you were bringing up about this mid lane matchup. You know, this Akali, she wants to get a win. She's going for this kill lane, and she's really been pressured out. I mean, 3-6, it's a little tough against Deluxe. She can really space you out. But still, you want to not be, forced to back on 350 gold to get a Darksteel. You want to be in a more commanding position if you are taking this Ignite, because as the game goes on later and later, that teleport will become just so useful. It lets you split push. It lets you get neutral pressure with Dragon, with Baron. So I think that as it scales out, if this Akali can't get rolling, that Ignite's not going to be worth it.
I will say, though, the Akali is not too far off in terms of CS.
Yeah.
Right? She's maintained quite well here against Chanos on this Lux, so honestly, not that big of a difference. The only major CS lead that we actually see on the map right now is in this bot lane. We talk about that safety that Eric provides, and Sivir's taking full advantage. Now sitting at what is 15 CS above Wally here on the Twitch.
Yeah, and I mean, that's pretty notable. That's nearing close, 250 gold. That's almost a kills amount. So it's going to mean that every single back, this Sivir's just going to be that much stronger, and you won't be able to have this sort of kill lane in the Leona that you're looking for.
Looks like we didn't quite catch, but Sen Bimmons did come in for a gank there on the mid lane. Didn't blow any flash on Dragon Ruler, not even the perfect execution, which is, of course, Akali's ultimate for anyone. But past that, I do like the early aggression from Sen Bimmons. He is coming to not only just the top side, but now the mid. But as I say that, we do see a gank coming in here from Funky Monkey, channeling a little bit of that stun, unable to find it where he wants, onto Not a Jungling God.
And great safety from Not a Jungling God, realizing that as this set is stepping forward, there's probably a Viego in the river. So good communication, good awareness. Dragon Ruler went in, but wasn't able to find much.
No, unable to get the rally back on that Shuriken, so a little bit of a failed trade there on that end. Past that, we do see Sen Bimmons come back up towards this top side. He's going to be contesting for that scuttle. This might be a large skirmish, but Not a Jungling God has already made the rotation down to secure this one out for solo minions.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to note, I kind of like it that his name is Not a Jungle God and he's playing Lee Sin, but engage bot side.
Dazzle found there onto Wally W. You see the response with the Zenith Blade. Good stun on the back end to make sure that Wally makes it out alive.
Yeah, great re-engage from that Leona, understanding that, the Sivir's dealing all the damage, so let's just stun her up and make my way out so that we don't get something else with Dragon.
Great play, flashes back in. Remember, he has that showstopper advantage, but the trade comes to a complete halt.
Yeah, one ulti dropped, but that was still so close as Wally almost hit by the boomerang blade.
It's looking very low here, and granted, he has to catch this wave. Doesn't want to give it up, but now Sen Bimmons back to the top side, finding that slow on to play. He actually does find the back-end knockup as that haymaker keeps them alive. He funds the showstopper back into it, and that knuckle down barely finds the first kill there. Play going down at the expense there of both these laners from Soul Minions.
That was so incredibly tight. I mean, hair-thin margins. That was so close. I was on the edge of my seat. I literally stepped up because I couldn't. Yeah, I mean, you saw me, but it was so close, and really play 958 played it so well. He almost managed to pull 2 kills out of it, but the spacing from Not a Jungle God and Sen Bimmons was just that much better.
Right, I knew for a fact that the minute that gank was going to come through, we would see the showstopper come out, playing off of great grit stacking. For anyone who doesn't know, getting a little bit of damage out on your end of set allows you to transition that to a shield later on. But now back in the bot lane, an easy kill picked up by Fat Nude, tried to come through, clear out the vision there, and they just stepped into death.
I mean, that's the advantage of this Sivir. She's got her serrated Dirk. She is powered up, really, with just having had so much pressure. And you're Leona at half health with no Guardian proc. You're going to lose that.
No surprise there. A little bit of an aggressive move in my end, but now, good root on Dragon Ruler. The burst didn't come through to follow up, but hey, I'm not playing.
Yeah, and good job by solo minions to, sort of transition that bot pressure into first dragon. You want to be transitioning as many kills as possible into objectives, so really great to see them doing that. But top side, it looks like this Viego might be looking for a gank.
They're coming back on the side here. You see the startup. Oh, no stun found as a great dash comes through off that ward hop.
Yeah, really great. And now there is a pretty big wave, but I don't want them to.
They're not dying.
Yeah, I don't want them to dive this. He's got plenty of health, and Lee Sin is so mobile.
Right, he has all that additional safety to make sure that he's not going to go anywhere. To play back, though, on your topic regarding the bot lane, personally, solo minions have the priority consistently here. And yes, they pick up that kill to transition it towards a dragon, but if they keep the wave in the state that we've seen for at least the past 10 minutes, I think they'll be able to transition it anytime to a dragon.
No, absolutely. I mean, this dragon spawning in formats to Ocean Drake is 100% going to be solo minions unless something gets completely broken open in the mid lane just because of how much control this bot side has. And that's sort of the name of the game, is just control. You're in these competitive spots and every game counts. You want to make sure you're not giving away any free advantages.
Right, and as safe as Shanos is, I mean, there's no way for Dragon Ruler to really capitalize and push themselves further as what is an early game skirmishing assassin, which we're going to start seeing fall off here as we approach that mid game. Man, that Ignite's got to feel bad.
Yeah, the Ignite's got to feel bad. It will come in handy, I think, here and there. You know, this is probably going to be a Gore Drinker Xin Zhao. It might be a Gore Drinker on the Lee Sin, so it can still find some use there, just an extra Grievous Wounds proc. But if you're really having a summoner spell that just does what an 800 gold item can do, it's really not worth it.
For now, though, everything kind of showing up a little bit equal. We touched on a little bit of the CS advantage here on Fat Mule earlier, but Fat finding the exhaust, seeing the play to hold him back for a little bit longer, and a solar flare to keep him alive. Wally, finding that boomerang in his face. Fat picking up another kill in the bot lane.
Another kill in the bots lane as this Sivir is just getting bigger and bigger. A lot of people say poke Sivir's not that great because it's, you know, pre-1 item, it's not great. Post 3 items, it's not great, but right now, every Fat Noodle is just doing everything right.
See that final spark in the mid lane? Doesn't quite kill Dragon Ruler, but it's going to make sure that they do, in fact, back here.
Yeah, and that's really been Janos' job here, is not to get kills, not to do anything crazy, just keep Dragon Ruler here because you're never killing the Lux, and if you can prevent her from moving topside, moving bot side, well, now fight bot side.
Bot immediately starts out with that dazzle, and of course you're going to flash there. Big Kahuna no longer have that tool available. Really pulls out a lot of the pressure that comes through with Leona pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Flash Zenith Blade, Flash Solar Flare,
Right.
We've all felt them, and now it's just gone, and didn't even take Hex Flash in the rune, so it's not even like you can get a cheeky channeled Flash out of vision, so it's going to be that much harder for this, you know, comp to try to transition into these mid-game fights without a Leona Flash.
What I need to see here from Bison is heavier rotations from the jungle and mid. You have the early game presence of both the Viego and the Akali. They just haven't made quite the use of it yet. And you have to give mad props to Solo Means, keeping the vision in such a good state. But now, thrown in the mid lane, you have that Rift Herald. It's going to knock a few plates, but nothing further.
Nothing too crazy, but 320 gold onto your Viego, that's equivalent of an extra kill. That's nothing to scoff at, and it's really the character you want it on, because Viego is one of those champs that if he gets rolling, he is so tough to slow down.
Right, but he might be slowed to a halt here as we see the double gank in. Final spark, Sonic Wave. Will he follow up? Yes, he does. Easily secured kill. Dragon Ruler tries to save it in some way, but it doesn't matter. It's already said and done.
And that was just a great sort of alley-oop from the team. They channeled him down there and right into the final spark, and sort of the discipline on the Sonic Wave recast was really great to see, making sure that there was no chance that this Viego's escaping.
Right, you didn't want to get locked down under the turret there and find yourself giving away a free kill there, but we already saw the stun come through there from Funky Monkey, so it was quite easy to pick up in that response. But now the Showstopper thrown out immediately here from play to dissuade, I believe, any kind of further push from not a jungling god. Granted, it's not going to find any kind of kill. It's now Sen Bimmons clearing out the vision on this board.
Yeah, just clearing out vision, can't really get much going. I think he wanted to try and gank, but that's why the ward's there, so they can stay safe.
Crazy thought. The vision's keeping them safe.
I mean, you could say that in my ranked games. They don't know it.
Oh, very true. I was going to pick up, though, here that Solo Mina has a great control of this river area, and it's why they keep the priority. It's why Sen Bimmons has had such an easy time coming into most of these lanes here. I mean, for anyone who is going to be participating in this tournament, might take a note.
He says that as we've got a few players in front of us, just scoping out the competition. But right now, bot side.
Starting up a little bit. That Solar Flare going to dissuade any kind of pressure. Good job. Big Kahuna finding a great stop, but it's not going to prevent them from picking up this dragon.
Yeah, you really can't do much. I mean, right there. You're just, again, securing pressure for this dragon. That's the name of the game. Get those permanent buffs as early as possible. Stack it up. We're going to see what soul we're going to be looking at. It's going to be Mountain or Infernal, but
Dragon Ruler going in deep, just barely misses on that Dazzle. The Cosmic Radiance coming out, what I would assume maybe a little bit early, but most of Bison pulled off there, so there wasn't even a fight to be had.
I'm just so impressed that Dragon Ruler was so deep and made it all the way out. I know. Sort of the top side of the river, made it all the way to the bottom and back to the top. Really, really insane to watch. Didn't do much, but very fun display of skill.
It's a very aggressive move in the response of losing both your perfect execution as well as your flash. So those are two major tools no longer available. Granted, the ult's going to come up a lot sooner, but that summoner is something that could be played around here as most of these champions are returning to a standard lane format. Maybe Sen could come mid.
Maybe, and I'm going to say we're at 15 minutes already. No towers have really fallen. It feels like we're just in this really extended laning phase, and that's honestly good for solo minions' benefits. But top side,
play here, taking good trade, misses out on the haymaker, but into the back end of play 90, finds the smash. He was so low.
And I mean, there's nothing else to say. He was really low, and I think there was an auto cancel out of play 958, which has got to feel terrible because it gave just enough time for the Lee Sin to drop his E, and that was just enough damage. I swear it's probably within the margins of 1 or 2 HP.
And it's crazy to see this because Lee is now a very skilled counter into the set, which is usually one of the earliest picked champions for, early game success, especially in that top lane. So to see them draw this out as even as they are, mad props to not juggling god.
Mad props indeed. I mean, he's playing incredibly well. The bot side looking for an engage, but the Twitch is able to just run away.
No surprise there. He's literally invisible, but no, he was being seen. I'm just making a little bit of a joke there. But it still sets up the fact that Fat Noodle and Ducky are willing to take anything, and they take away the flash.
Yeah, they take away that flash, but good response from Bison. They do get, I believe, the Herald, but now it's a skirmish.
Skirmish followed through. Funky Monkey, of course, punished out quite easily there, and they lose the teleport from play 958. They weren't able to capitalize in that 2v2.
Weren't able to capitalize, but at least they got the Herald that can maybe get them some tower pressure. But, it is still second Herald. You're not getting any plates for it, so it's really not as valuable. It helps break open the game, maybe gives them a little dragon pressure in 2.5 rights, but that's about it.
Well, past that, nothing too crazy here from Bison. Send Bimmons, though, back in this mid lane, unable to capitalize on that flash like we discussed.
Yeah, unable to capitalize. I mean, Akali's still a very, very mobile champion, but stun bot side.
And this is just free damage for Fat there in the bot lane. Easily secures that one out, and you start to see the absolute shredding power of this Poke Sivir. And I'm so glad it's in the meta, because personally, I'm just going to let you know, I am a Sivir main. And so coming through, seeing those shurikens deal as much damage as they do, the boomerang, I gotta love it.
Gotta love it. I mean, it's so fun to watch, and it's just so satisfying when you're just like, I'm this little ADC, and I finally find my way back because I can melt everybody.
Sonic Wave! Easy pickup there for not a jungling god.
I mean, you land the Sonic Wave, there's not much else to it. You get the kick, and just props to him capitalizing.
Yeah. Not a jungling god has done absolutely incredible work in this game, not only the lane, but also making those rotations. We saw him come back to that mid lane earlier, finding the pick onto Funky Monkey. So now, once again, this time around being on Dragon Ruler, looks good for the solo minions, my apologies.
It is looking really good for solo minions. They are certainly executing their composition exactly how they needed to. They're securing that presence bot side. They're having this really, really powerful Lee Sin counter that set up top, and this Xin Zhao is out jungling the Diego, which is exactly
Death Rush.
Death Rush
set up.
Oh no!
Secured Dazzle. Big Kahunas does have a bit of the safety from the W to keep them alive, but the flash, once again gone.
Once again gone, and that's exactly what you've got to be looking for. If you can make sure that this Leona's flashing defensively, she's never going to be flashing on top of you.
Exactly, and that keeps your carries alive for just a little bit longer. But speaking of things that stay alive, I don't think this turret's going to be alive for that much longer. Let's see if a chase ensues here on the hunt. Thrown out, Fat Noodle, big flash, and a secured kill there onto Wally.
Secured kill, and I mean, what are you doing sticking around? There's a Sivir with her ultimate, and that tower's going down in just a couple seconds. You are a dead man walking if you stick around.
That's exactly what occurs there. So now pushing Fat Noodle up to 3-0 with a 40 CS lead. This is the carry to be scared of. We're coming hot prime into that mid lane. Oh, my apologies, mid game. And now that's a tough one to fight against.
It's really tough as right now, solo minions, they've already looking for that soul point. If you can get soul point, then that means you are forcing a permanent buff for the rest of the game. That's a bit of a skirmish top.
Play 9-5-8, nothing too crazy there. They do find what might be the first kill for Bisons. It's that ignite that ticks down. Dragon Ruler finally getting good use of the summoner.
Finally, for once, being able to pick up a kill on his lane opponent. Might have taken his jungler and a lot of resources not going across the map, but now they might get collapsed on.
Into the jungle, Sen Bimmons gets a funky knock up there onto Funky Monkey. Now Dragon Ruler the next to go. An easily secured kill, taking solo minions past that double-digit mark.
Yeah, finally reaching double-digit kills as they have just been so controlled this game, only going for the kills that they can confirm as right here. I want to say we've got a lovely live audience giving us a bit of a wave.
I do enjoy the live audience, and sadly you guys can't see it if you're watching from the stream, but they're doing an absolute pleasure of a show for us here, so we're getting just as much entertainment as hopefully you are at home.
100%, as this is really the point in the game where I think it's going to start to break open for solo minions. They're about to collapse on the spot side, who are already really struggling.
Sen Bimmons coming in there, clearing that whiteboard. Not only jungling God, starting to pinch off, finds the Dragon Rage onto Wally, and that's an easy kill to transition over to Fat Noodle. Big Kahuna, possibly the next to go. An excellent stun playing off of the transition there from Tarek. Finds its way onto Not a Jungling God, but I love the cohesion here from this squad. Remember, that wasn't Tarek who found that stun. It was the stun off of playing it on top of my apologies, Not a Jungling God on this Lee Sin.
Yeah, it was props to him as now he's just sort of playing that Vanguard role, not letting his Kali in, but she seems like she wants to make this fight happen.
She's going to be stunned out, though, from Ducky Raps and exhaust to boot. This might be the end. Sonic Wave, it's one quick follow-up. Into the turret range it goes, finding themselves another kill.
Finding another kill indeed. 13 already for solo minion, as now they've got that third dragon on soul point, which is pretty massive, but they are really just taking everything that they want as Baron is spawned, but it looks like there's a respawn from Bison in the top side. They're trying to at least race for something.
Clearing out a little bit of that red side jungle, trying to take away what they can here from Sen Bimmons, but personally, with 3 kills and the 4 assists also on top of him right now, that's a lot of gold to contest.
It certainly is. With 0-3-1 versus 3-0-4, I think we know who's ahead. And and it's really just the fact that Sen Bimmons has been able to be exactly where he needs to be at all times. I haven't seen Funky Monkey really once. I saw him get that kill mid lane and attempt 2 ganks topside, and beyond that, what's he been doing? Really nothing.
It's a lot of great control from solo minions playing around their appropriate vision setup across that entire river.
Very
we
true.
talked about it earlier, and allowed them, or more specifically enabled them to get to the point that they're at currently mid-game, which personally, if I had to pick a squad that performs better in terms of the team fight to team fight, this composition works so much better for solo minion, and they're already with that 12 kill lead. It is a massive uphill battle here for Bison.
It certainly is. It's obviously, you're not out of the woods yet. You definitely have some ways to come back. Wally, this Twitch can definitely become a hyper carry. The power of a solar flare can never be underestimated, and if Diego gets his resets, he can always get rolling. It is just that much tougher as a Funky Monkey walks up.
And he walks out. Not to where we expect, of course, not back into the jungle, but towards his fountain.
And I mean, that's just sort of been the story. Bison haven't been able to get much vision control. They've always been sort of choked at the river, and it's given so much freedom to solo minions, top laner and jungler to just do everything they want. Not a Jungling God on this Lee Sin, and Sen Bimmons have been doing so much in the realm on the map, and it's really created this lead. It wasn't just, individual differences. It was this great team play coming forward.
Right, and that's what we like to see here. For anyone who doesn't know or wants to be reminded, there are 6 teams competing in this League of Legends event, so seeing cohesion come out of the solo minions right now, it's a great sign for as we make our way through the bracket on to finals.
Absolutely, as we will be making our way throughout the day. Remember, it is a round-robin format, so we will be seeing just about all the teams on stream today. It's a little skirmish top, but now they've both got their items. It's pretty tough to get a kill up there.
Yeah, at this point, play 958 is already safe enough that you're not going to see any kind of death come through as he's taking up, on top of also having the grit passive to keep him alive, playing around those shields off of Haymaker. And now Jungling God, while he may be very far ahead, he's not trying to scale towards damage. You see that item set, plated steel caps into the Thornmail. He's just being, as what you said, a good Vanguard role.
Exactly. He's sort of just playing this mixed drain tank where you have the Gore Drinker to heal you back up, and you can just stay in there for so long with that Thornmail. It gets so much value because there's the set, the Viego, the Akali's doing mixed damage, and then the Twitch as well doing AD. So it's just, you get so much value out of that one item.
For now, though, we are approaching the Nyx Dragon. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Funky Monkey here looking for the engage. You see the deep dive come through. Solar Player gets the great stun back out and ducking wraps, but now what might be a secure Cosmic Radiance keeps Solo Means alive. They do find the 1 kill, but now Teleport coming through from play 958. It's not going to dissuade the pressure that they want on this Dragon, but who knows? Maybe Solo Means will pull back.
Yeah, they're going to have to pull back a little bit. Ducky definitely has to reset here. So it was good to see Bison try to take the initiative on that plan. They almost got the collapse, but that Cosmic Radiance so good. And now the Sivir ulti.
Once again, on the hunt, so much pressure to come through with the additional movement speed, and you force the flash. Senbimin's getting the slow, though, and the further knock-up. Not quite, but it's the final spark that secures the kill.
Securing that kill, indeed, and all of that pressure you just sort of secured as Bison. You might have lost one member, but forcing a couple people back is now just completely gone, as solo minions have total control of this bot side looking for that Mountain Soul.
For now, though, 30 seconds away here. Big Kahuna, your major tool in terms of engage, is not on the map. So I'm going to place maybe a general prediction that I believe this Mountain Soul is secured here already for Soul Millions.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's going to be so tough to push in, and you have so many targets to try and cut through. You have the Lee Sin, you have the Xin Zhao, and in the meanwhile, the Sivir is just raining damage upon you.
So for now, Dragon has officially spawned on the end. You see the vision is in full control here for Soul Minions. Double control ward on that red jungle. Funky Monkey is in the area, and he could potentially smite steal, even though there is the 1 level difference that gives favoritism towards Senbimins.
No, there's actually the smite change. So
oh, that's right. My apologies. That did come through. Sadly, red is secured here. They find themselves the soul in the first kill over on Senbimins. Play 958. Able to possibly find that Haymaker. And while the true damage does come through, he's still going to go down. Crescent Guard in the back end as that Cosmic Radiance is secured. Final spark, while not hitting the mark, isn't going to be enough to stop this rampage. Dragon Ruler, the next to go down as a stun is secured. Wally in the back end as well. That's a full wipe. An ace here for Solo Minions.
A clean ace at that, as they are marching towards the Baron, trying to get as many buffs as possible, as if they weren't in control already, they were certainly favored to take this game 1.
For now, they're 27 minutes in, 20 kill lead over what looks to be almost 1,000, or my apologies, 10,000 gold here in advantage to the Solo Minions. So making a statement for themselves here at Unified's Festival.
They certainly are. They're the first game on stream, and they're wanting to make a statement. They know everybody's watching, and they want to put their best out there.
Well, they'll definitely be tested here as they match up into our round robin later on. But like you said, Baron easily secured, no contention there from Bison, of course.
I mean, your team's dead. How can you contest anyway? So
no surprise.
As really the only sort of stain on this near perfect game from Solo Minions is 3 towers, tier 1s, and 1 kill. Only 1 kill just feels so tough when you have an Akali, you have a Viego, all of these champions that really are just looking for those early engages. And again, props to Solar Minions. They understand how to slow down the game. They understand when their breakpoints are, and they have really played to perfection.
I was impressed to see them draft such an early composition with that Lee Sin and Xin Zhao, but they were able to transition it into good ganks, even though
Like you said, gank coming through there. Jungling in the backside. Sonic Wave finding it through. Turnaround from Fat Noodle. But the Hager Flash is what secures the kill. Play 958 now turning Ascension, not Jungling God. Spray and pray from Wally. Might be punished though for stepping too far up. 958 might get the Gore Drinker heal off, but not for long as a double is secured back for not a Jungling God.
Set as a balanced champion. I mean, you can't walk into a haymaker when you're a sipper. What are you even doing stepping back forward?
Not just a haymaker, a fully stacked grit haymaker, all right? So that is a mathematically calculated execution there. Reminder, it is true damage if you're caught in the center.
Yeah, I mean, it was so much damage. I was not ready for it, and it was really insane to see. As now topside, Diego looking for the Lux.
He was rooted on the back end. Heartbreaker coming out quite early there as finally we see a good, successful kill here from Bison. That's the solo advantage that each of these champions have. 1v1, a lot of them can take it against the squishies.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just sort of solo minion, I think, sort of forgetting why they got ahead. They were playing together. They're playing around mid, they're playing around bot side. And as you start to split up, as you start to leave your carries alone, you're just going to get picked off when you have two sort of assassins on this Bison squad.
This is a good lesson for everyone on how really you should close out that game. So we'll take a watch here as solo minions do have all the tools available to make a close here in any short time. But the longer this game goes on, the more likely you have those appropriate carries like Wally and Akali starting to get into a place where they're a lot more contestable into each of these team fights.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've got the Elder Drake spawning at 220, and it sort of looks like Solo Minion might be playing to that as their win condition. But when you already have, Mountain Soul, you can Siege, you have this Sivir that can just have permanent pressure. Why aren't you just pushing these lanes as hard as possible? You don't need to wait 2 minutes. You could probably end the game right now.
For now, though, that's not quite happening, but possibly a further kill. They're able to pressure both Dragon and Wally off of this mid wave to continue their siege, but that Dragon, or my apologies, that Baron has officially run out.
Yeah, Baron just ran out. That's how it goes. It's a 3-minute buff, but I'm still a little confused on solo minions as the Sivir is just nowhere near the team. She was farming Krugs up topside when they're trying to siege mid, and Sivir's your main siege tool, not your Xing Zhao and your Lee Sin.
That is very true. Well, Sivir does finally make her appearance, but I don't think it's for any kind of sieging. Like you said earlier, they're more than likely playing towards a win con around this Elder Drake.
Which is fine, but remember, you're still opening yourself up to, maybe those 50-50s. If it comes down to a Smite 50-50, that's a scary spot to be, because if you can have this Runins-enabled Twitch with Elder Drake, that is a scary sight.
For now, though, we do see the resets coming out here from solo minions, and sadly, none of them are going to be saving the second turret in the top lane. Funky Monkey taking the split to a full force here and finding that one. Not jungling, though. Might be looking to punish. Does find a little bit of slow Sonic Wave to follow up. Now the 1v1 complete underway here. While not jungling God does go a little bit low, he still is able to, of course, find that kill.
And that removes the potential for a smite on Elder.
Oh, that's right.
So that is going to be big for solo minions. And honestly, Funky Monkey, you don't have teleport. You should really leave that split pushing, I feel, up to the set. You've got to be playing around this Drake because you are the 50-50 threat.
He will not even be up as this Elder spawns. That could not be a better situation here for the solo minions.
Absolutely, as just a little bit of a wave mid, but they have a really great amount of Dragon pressure with the wards, but teleport mid from the Lee Sin.
So Wally here, pressured out by that teleport, but it's going to be Big Kahuna that we turn our attention to. Her forced to flash a good solar flare to stop knockup from Sen Bimmons, but that dazzle into Final Spark is still going to secure, and of course, Nia Jungling's on the back end. He's in the mid lane. He just steps in.
He can just come in and clean up, as now with one more member down, it looks like this Elder Drake should be easy pickings for solo minion, but this is sort of your last chance if you are Bison to try and make something happen.
Does not look like that.
Does not look like it at all.
This is coming through at all here. And I will say, they did secure the Baron earlier, and we got to see what their kind of closing strategy was, and it honestly did not look very clean. So now with the Elder on their belt, while they'll be looking for a fight, which play 95-8, going to be the first one to be taken out here. That warded to Fat Noodle, of course. You got a question what it's going to be further, as
Now, not a juggling god, just taking it directly into the base. This man does not even care. He's not even waiting for the team.
Not waiting at all. I mean, when the Twitcher sort of steps up and you land the Q, that's a dead rat on the Rift.
That is for sure. They don't have the wave to play around here. And while, yes, we could see another dive come through from someone like Not a Jungling God with an absurd level of damage, by the way. He's currently at level 18, the highest on the Rift currently. And that is something that is non-contestable.
Not contestable at all as the first inhib falls, and with Elder buff up, this is looking to be a clean end for Solo Minions.
So Minions here looking to finish this one up. Cosmic Radiance coming down just to make sure that no one's picked off here. Big dive for Jungling God. Taking a little bit of a second there to let an announcement come through here at Lincoln, Nebraska. You'd have to be here to enjoy it, but there's the first game, awarded, of course, to the Solo Minions.
And Solo Minions, they did such a good job. I mean, quite honestly, it was just incredibly clean. I mean, a good job is an understatement. Really, it was just clean sort of demolition. They deconstructed Bison. They understood how they wanted to play, and they used this Sivir, used the Lux to shut down the Akali, shut down that bot side. And if you're constantly pressuring the Leona, there's never those aggressive solar flares or Zenith blades you can get away with. So they just shut down everything that they wanted to do.
Yeah, they played an incredible early game, one that I didn't expect to come through in the way that it did, but it was a clear and easy transition, making all these carries just come to life. As for us, though, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break as we make our way towards our second round of the day. Stick around.
You don't walk blindly into the future, you actually imagine it and invent it. This could only have happened in Nebraska because of the bold vision, because of the commitment to success and to excellence that UNL has, because we're scrappy, and because of what's come before. You don't walk fabulous film and theatre program, and that's why it could only happen here. I truly believe that we have the opportunity to bring a better future into being. If not us, who? don't walk blindly into the future, you actually imagine it and invent it. This could only have happened in Nebraska because of the bold vision, because of the commitment to success and to excellence that UNL has, because we're scrappy, and because of what's come before, because it actually has been built on the back of 20 years of a really fabulous film and theatre program, and that's why it could only happen here. I truly believe that we have the opportunity to bring a better future into being. If not us, who?
Yeah. yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. She gon' bust it. She gon' rush it. She gon' yeah. What's up, baby? Tell me how you get the one up on me. Aye. And I know you ain't playing round. You about to have me down on one knee. Aye. I got that soul. Now she done came and snatched the soul out of me. Aye. She got that gold. She close enough. She open up. You go to sleep. Aye. Now if you ever get to meet her, better keep it shouted. About to make a supersonic man out of you. She go below the belt. You better go for help and shout it back. Make a supersonic man out of you. I wanna be her man. Now I'm a believer. She used both hands. Now I'm a believer. Yeah. Big gun, baby. I'ma pull it out and shooting my shot. I got a feeling I can bust it, baby. Trust me, baby, I do this a lot. She do that roll. Now I'ma double tap that booty like I did. She take that pole. All the way down that choking sign gon' make me ski. I ski. Yeah, now if you ever get to meet her, better keep it shouted. About to make a supersonic
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming to you live once again here from Lincoln, Nebraska, and we're about to work our way into the second round of our League of Legends brackets.
Yeah, we're getting to the second round. I'm super excited to see because we've got McDonald's Sprite up against Gap, and I'm wondering if McDonald's Sprite is going to hit just as hard as it does when I go through the drive-thru.
Oh, that's the question that will be answered here. If you're just joining us, we just got to see Bison take on Solo Minions, and it was a series. If you're interested in maybe sticking around with some of the action, you can tune into the VOD and get a little bit of what we saw there. But Solo Minions came out on top, taking our first win of the day.
Yeah, they played really well. They played really clean. They just played as a team, and it was as much just controlling the map as much as anything. There weren't some crazy outplays. It didn't feel like each lane was mismatched. It just seemed like they were just communicating really well, and they had great vision on top of it, and that's how you win some of these events. And first game, maybe it came down to jitters, but they did a great job.
Absolutely. And just to confirm with anyone who doesn't know, we are in our round robin phase here at the festival. We've got 6 teams that are competing in our League of Legends tournaments, and we'll be making our way over to our bracket much later on and covering our finals tomorrow. And granted, we've got stuff like Rocket League, COD, and the like all going on, taking place for these next couple days. So if you're interested in that, make sure you keep that on you guys there.
Absolutely. There's going to be so much great action. We've got, I think, a little bit of Rocket League today, and then COD and Valorant tomorrow, which should be incredible to see. But now I'm just wondering, what approach are these teams going to be taking? Will they go for the same sort of team fight, win the bot lane strategy as we saw out of Solo Minions, or are they going to take a completely different direction?
Right. And just to give everyone a little bit of an idea, we did see what was a solo kind of pick comp come out of the Bisons. They had a lot of lockdown potential, but they didn't have the early game presence come through at any given point. So those major carries, I'll give you the like of Viego, Akali, and those two, didn't really come out alive as much as we would have hoped. Right. But that's not to say solo pick comps don't work. Heck, Bison could come back at some point and completely change anew and show us that they've got some stuff.
Absolutely. They can certainly turn it around. It's still only first round of the bracket, so there's still plenty of League of Legends to be played, and there's plenty of a chance for, comeback stories. So we love every single one of those, as I believe we're just getting into lobby soon, and we'll be getting into draft very, very soon. But I'm thinking, Viego once again, picks like that, and we saw last game, the Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, big difference makers.
Absolutely. Heavy early presence. We got Lee Sin and Xin actually on the same team. They threw that Lee back into the top lane, and it was a great early skirmisher against Seth. So no surprise if we'll see him again. Hopefully maybe in the jungle. That was a very good presence as well in some of these most recent patches. Past that, nothing too crazy otherwise across the board. We had a little bit of a sight on Sivir and Twitch, which Sivir, granted, has been in the meta, and there was quite a few 80 carry bans. But past that, not a big presence on terms of Twitch.
Yeah, the Twitch was just sort of invisible, pressing his Q quite a bit, going to Fountain quite a bit. And, when you fall behind early as a hyper carry, it becomes that much harder to claw your way back in.
Right.
And when you don't have the, your pick specialists having the resources, the Leona constantly getting pressured and losing her flash, the Viego never getting rolling, it's hard for you to start to become that cleanup force that you need in the fight.
Well, it's something we'll have to take a look at here as we are just in the inklings of our League of Legends tournament. But I have to ask, John, we did go for quite a large break. Did you get any smash in?
I did not get any smash in. I really thought about it. I saw 12 minutes on the break and I was like, maybe I could run over there. But I thought better be ready for the next match and make sure that we're fully prepped up. Take some notes and get a drink of water.
See, if it were me, if I enjoyed Smash, I'd be over there. You'd see me playing the Donkey Kong and wiping kids across the board. Not Melee, though. I can't play it on Melee.
Oh man, that's my main game, Melee, actually.
Really?
Yeah, we got actually a pretty great community where I'm from, at my school, but we'll be getting the draft just any second, so we won't have to talk about Melee. We'll talk about League of Legends right now, as we've got McDonald's Sprite Squad up against Gap, and the first ban is a Kog'Maw.
Ooh, Kog'Maw coming right off the board. That's one major hyper carry not available. And granted, it's not something that we typically see unless it has heavy support from the rest of the squad. But it looks like it might be one of the supreme favorites here for something like Rectorian here on Gap. And by the way, once again, this is of course McDonald's Sprite Squad versus Gap.
Yes, and as the bans are coming through, this Annie ban, a lot of people probably aren't used to seeing that out of Gap too often, but Annie actually recently just got a buff on 11-15, this most recent patch. It increased her Q damage as well as its scaling potential. So it sort of rounds out this champion and makes her a bigger presence in the mid lane. Now, I also really like the Lulu ban out of Gap. It enables so many other hyper carries. It enables Kai'Sa, Jinx, Xayah, and Xayah receiving a buff this patch as well could be that much stronger.
Past that, the Udyr and Caitlyn as well. Two major picks. Oh, that Ziggs comes through. That was a major tucking point that we had earlier. Don't want to see that come through, whether it be in the mid or bot lane, given its flexibility. Now, though, here taking a look at Super Savior here in the top lane for McDonald's Sprite Squad. Take a look at what might be that first pick, and it's going to be,
is it going to be the Kench? They have unbenched the Kench, and I love this pick. He has been absolutely tearing up some high-level amateur play, and he is so much fun to watch. I mean, he can bruise with the best, and he's also just so flexible. You can engage, you can disengage, you can chomp up your teammates and stay alive forever.
Right, and after the changes that made, where they have the dive now attached to that E, so it comes through much more often, and with the knockup, definitely a harder engage tool in that bot lane. But speaking of engage tools, that Leona's locked in for Gap.
I mean, I wasn't going to say that this was a support Tom. I'm expecting him to go top or mid.
Top?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'll make a bet with you right now.
Yeah, no, Tom Kench
interesting.
has been absolutely killing it. You know, I cast amateur sometimes. One of the orgs I was working with, they got their Tom Kench and 2-0'd with it, and it is just so strong. I'm so excited to see how they take it. But now we've got the
very obvious where they're taking it.
It's very obvious with that Nautilus lock-in.
My apologies on that then. That's my small play-by-play past the brain going out. But now, wow, we just got a little bit of a message here. Apparently, Tom Kench is the #1 top laner currently statistically in League of Legends in this current patch. So definitely one of the harder of metas to play into. Of course, we do see that bot lane secured on top of the Kench being that Nautilus incentive.
Yeah, I think Nautilus Center is a really good option. It's pretty safe, and this Nautilus gives you lots of engage options. He's not like a Thresh that can, be that true disengage, but at the very least, he can secure enough space that the Senna should be able to just farm out. And especially, into this Leona lane, it's going to be tough, but that is a Jax locked in for Gap.
And while it is flexible, I more than likely expect to see that in the top lane, given that it does have contestable dueling power into the Kench. Granted, at some point, Kench becomes an entity that is more than difficult to kill, but giving him a little bit more presence to scale up towards some of the heavier items that make Jax that kind of mixed carry that pushes him into a limelight, I think he won't have a problem sustaining that lane.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty interesting, especially, now with Hullbreaker, it sort of enables Jax's style, sitting in that side lane, getting those bonus stats, and just looking for that 1v1. I think it's definitely a potential option that Gap could look at, is playing this sort of split push style. It's now jungle bans coming through, the Viego, the Xin Zhao, what we were expecting, quite honestly.
Right, that Mundo also taken out as well. I'm not sure if that's targeted directly towards the jungle, or they might be thinking that Jax is still on kind of a flex kind of position right now. Past that, though, I do want to take a note regarding Gap real quick, that you did say it's going to be a little bit hard for this Senna. I fully expect, win condition-wise, that this bot lane's going in.
Yeah,
Have to play around.
Absolutely. You get the love tap with the misfortune, and you just try to blow up this Senna as fast as possible, because if you can set her behind early, it means she won't become that really massive force later in the game.
Tell you what, Gap securing what is an incredibly late game scaler in that Rise, and it shores up the weakness regarding the magic damage that they don't have currently in this composition, but it will not be making an appearance for a while.
Yeah, it's really interesting right now where Rise, if he can get ahead, if he can get a CS lead, he can start to, really snowball, but otherwise he's sort of relegated to that 2.5, 3 item spike that you expect on these late game carries. But going into a Malzahar, that's going to be, I think, really, really tough for this Rise to, get any space, because that spell shield would be so impactful from landing his E, landing his combos.
Right.
And that's an Elise.
Right, Elise and Malzahar both picked up here for the Sprite squad, and this is some heavy lockdown.
Yes.
Especially if we look towards that mid lane for any kind of early gank making its presence known. Past that, it is the major form of setup in most of these team fights past the hard engage you have from these front lines. So
yeah, and we just got the last pick for Gap being a Darius, meaning this is probably a Jax in the jungle, which is going to be, I think, very interesting to see. At least Jax is not a matchup I'm especially familiar with, but quite honestly, I think it's gonna be really fun to watch because these are two champions that are really player dependent.
right, you don't typically see that Jax rotate towards the jungle too much anymore. The item scalings that put Jax in a good spot to be carry viable are a little expensive for being kind of on the jungle orientation of the map. So that's why we see the rotation. I would know though. I literally played Jax jungle for an entire season way back in, I believe, 6. Other than that, a really strong front to back here for McDonald's Sprite squad.
Yeah, it is a really solid front to back. I mean, you have this Nautilus that can start the fight, you have this Tom that can sort of be this agent of chaos, and then you have this Malzahar that can just spawn the little voidlings, and that will give the space for the Senna to, move forward. And Elise is just throwing out a cocoon or trying to isolate someone, whereas Gap, they just want to lock one person down and then steamroll the fight, whether that's, landing a solar flare and then getting the Darius to have his, Noxie and Mike sort of go crazy, then that's how they win fights, I think, in their front to back, is get the pick with the Leona and then have your carries keep going.
Well, personally, I think Gap, as the game goes on later and later, well, yes, they're going to be having to deal with an absurd amount of CC. Every individual here on the Sprite squad has some form of lockdown, and that's going to be a massive thing to contest against. If they're able to get the burst off, put carries like the Rise in a position where they can find that late game marginally, Gap might find a chance towards that victory playing off the heavy damage available.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be tough because remember, McDonald's Sprite Squad has plenty of scaling in their own right. This Malzahar can definitely, sort of reach that one-shot potential, and Senna is one of, if not the best scalers in the game with being able to stack up those souls. So I think that at every stage of the game, it's probably going to be pretty brawly as both of these teams want to go when you've got Leona and Nautilus in the bot lane, so I think Sparks are definitely going to fly.
So I'll ask this before we might close this one out here. What is your prediction coming into our second round here?
I really like McDonald's Sprite Squad here because you've got the Tom Kench. He can really, secure so much space topside. He can get you rolling there, and he has that semi-global mobility in his W, and then you always have, sort of the late game bank of the Senna, and if Elise can get rolling, I think it's gonna be really tough for Gap to try and re-enter this game.
While Gap, of course, does have heavy presence in the lockdown damage that they can secure, I'm not going to be playing the opposite man this time around. I do have a little bit more favoritism towards that Sprite side composition. It does give them all the tools that they need to find each individual pick. If they make a mistake, though, and they find themselves separated, you allow for someone like Much Morphine or Incredible Kirk to be in that back line and they get picked off. Then I could see this roster falling apart because there isn't a lot of damage other than those 3 major carries.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. With only one major carry on Sprite Squad, if it gets picked, it's going to be really tough to pull off.
With our predictions now locked in, and you can come berate us here at the desk, you're literally physically here, we are going to be making our way into our second round. Stick in as we make it towards the Rift. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our second round of our League of Legends tournament here at our Unified Festival here in, of course, Lincoln, Nebraska. I am your play-by-play caster, Zephyr, joined by my lovely here, J Turbo.
And I am just so excited to get into game 2. We saw a really great game 1. It was just some great stuff out of Solo Minion. It was a game for sure. But now we're getting into Gap versus McDonald's Sprite Squad, and I'm wondering if McDonald's Sprite Squad will live up to their hype, as we're seeing some 5-man shenanigans already.
Both squads here setting up for 5 dredge lines to start this one off. Big stun response from Jax on the counter strike with the return. Super Savior trails, both looking incredibly low. The on attack follows, but it doesn't secure the kill. He manages to make his way out. A bad situation somehow turning out good, question mark?
And somehow nobody dies in that entire interaction when you've got so many really solid level 1 champs that apparently just couldn't find enough damage. I don't know if it was targeting, because that was just total chaos from all fronts, with I think not even, McDonald's Sprite Squad being ready for there to be 5 members waiting in that bush when they threw out that dredge line.
Right, I love that from Gap. They read it perfectly. They know that this composition is probably going to be looking for some kind of cheesy early gank, and they set up all 5 members to wait and the like. And yeah, they almost came out with a kill there. Now, back to front here, no one utilized the flash. No one was willing to go for the hard dive, because once you see one, then you see them all come through. But it was just the ignite and heal in that bot lane.
Yeah, just the ignite and the heal, so nothing too crazy. I mean, it will mean that this Senna is going to be a little bit less safe than you'd hope, but it also means that the Leona won't have as many engage opportunities and won't be able to be as aggressive. So, as one of my friends likes to say, it's a give and a take.
A give and a take, and hopefully it ends up working on either one of these teams' favorite in the bot lane. For now, it's looking like a pretty casual front. I'm going to play favorite towards Gap because they have that misfortune. And yes, while Senna is one of the best scalers out there, it's currently 2 minutes.
Engage up top.
Good knock up here from Super Savior. Isn't able to extend that out to a further stun, but I do like to see that damage coming out early.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why it's so good. But bot side,
double engage here. You see the start off with this, my apologies, the Zenith Blade, but nothing to follow through any much further than that.
Yeah, and that was really great by the bot lane of Gap. They hit that early level 2 and just wanted to capitalize as quickly as possible. And they came pretty close to it, but topside, a little more pressure from this Tom.
Right, Super Savior making great work here of this Darius. Granted, it's going to take a little bit of a turret shot there, but I don't think that stops any of his further assault.
No, not at all. I mean, he's got that gray health. He'll be able to heal up a bit of it, and he's doing just fine. Got that Grasp of the Undying, and he is not looking to die anytime soon.
For now, most of these lanes are going to be looking quite controlled. I did pin a little bit of the win condition on Gap here, playing around that bot side Leona, trying to find some secure kill into the face of the Senna before she starts to ramp up, and who knows? We maybe have to wait for a gank here from this Jax, by the way, whose name is Absolute Beast.
Yeah, and hopefully he will be an absolute beast on this Jax. Right now he's looking for the Tom Kench, but it seems like the Elise is there as well, and so there won't be any, engage there, because you're probably not going to win that fight against the Toad.
And they secure the scuttle in response. Ramadan Steve able to walk down, make sure that Absolute Beast isn't launched upon anytime soon. Past that, once again, just a little bit of safety across the board. No one's looking to give it up just yet.
Yeah, it looks like Neon wants a gank, but Absolute Beast going in.
And that repel comes out as soon as the jump is through. Knock up from Super Savior on the back end. Ramadan looking low, pulls the heal with the action of Flash Burst Blood. Now Super Savior 2v1. He might be strong, but the gray is already popped. Finds the additional stun, and now that final auto is gonna make sure that he gets the return here on the top side. Will this get out? Dive though. He gets out.
Oh my goodness, that is one of the tightest 1-for-1s I've ever seen, with that Tom Kent just barely pulling it out, and really just a great trigger pull by Absolute Beast to jump onto Neon. And it felt like a little bit of miscommunication where the Tom Kench went in and the Elise just jumped out, and I feel if they'd committed to that fight, they might have been able to win it.
Well, I mean, they did their best. Past that, it is a simple 1-to-1 on that top side, so no one particularly comes out on top. And in terms of blown flashes, technically Super Savior's the only one who didn't flash out of that fight, so return gank might be coming through from Neo at some point.
Yeah, definitely very possible. Darius is not known for his mobility, as he is really just one of those slow, clunky bruiser top laners. Now, he do a lot, but that missing Zenith Blade means we won't be seeing much in this bot side.
As we say, we already see the Zenith Blade miss, so there's no chance that any kind of actions coming through for the time being. Misfortune once again, no surprise, still holding that current CS lead as a result of her being an early game carry that contests in the bot lane much better than Senna. Hopefully that lead blows up a bit further, but for now, nothing crazy.
Yeah, nothing too crazy, just about 5 CS. That's about what you expect. And they're just going to be going for their, pretty safe recall, as we're really going to be seeing right around this 5-6 minute point as who's going to go for this early dragon. But topside, maybe they want to skirmish some more.
Ramadan's looking way lower on the matchup, and yes, he is trying to stack up that Bloodlust passive, but it doesn't come through, and as a result, no response is seen here on the Super Savior. So already sitting at half health into the lane, it looks more than worse for him.
Yeah, it's not looking great as he Super Saviors keeps going in.
He might be able to stack up the full 5 here, and there he finds it. And while no, he doesn't have the heal available, those minions are doing a great job at making sure he can't chunk out any further.
Yeah, and that's just great play by Super Savior. Understand you got to play in the wave to make sure that this Darius can't just, run you down, as he does have that healing, does have so much flexibility and damage in his kit. But he does have teleport, so shouldn't miss much of this wave.
Yeah, but you're already expending teleport. That's the issue. So hopefully he's going to walk it back, because losing out such a crucial tool in the face of Dragon on the spawn in this bot side, and hopefully with rotation. But he does make that choice. He doesn't want to miss out on that golden XP. So this is something that McDonald's Sprite spot could play around.
Yeah, it's a pretty big wave. It's pretty big for specifically Darius. But right now with this freeze sort of setup, it's going to be really good for Gap moving forward. But mid lane, Incredible Kirk able to walk away.
Yeah, and Incredible Kirk, no problem there. And even still, without a full Q strike from the Rise in the mid lane, he still has the passive shield available. And while, yes, a Leap Strike would get off that initial stun, it doesn't allow for any kind of lockdown from either No Burrow at any point.
Yeah, and that's one reason why Malzahar is just so safe. He's got that spell shield, but now bot side going in.
Initial gank, or initial start up here on the CC. Jax Peter, though, filed back with the dredge line. Absolute Beast does make the rotation down here, and while the slow comes through from Super Savior on the TP, no kills are secured in any way. Might be priority calling in favor here, though, towards McDonald's Sprite Squad.
Yeah, maybe some priority. I would like to see them transition this towards Dragon Pressure. They have their entire team.
Give it a second, okay?
Super Savior's backing, and he's committed that back, so they might still get a little bit of pressure, but without the Tom Kench, I feel like you lose a lot of potential space.
Well, I mean, you've already got the rotation from Neode and Incredible Kirk making their way down here, so personally, no surprise.
Might be enough anyway.
Yeah. I would like to see a response, though, from Absolute or No Bro if that does come through, but no one really finds any kind of push there, and they all return to their lanes.
Yep. I feel like that whole play was for Dragon, and now it's still standing. And so it's probably just going to be towards, maybe some breakout bot side skirmish, or this Jax might be looking for some priority.
There he comes through. We see the initial stun come out. Dredgeline's going to stop Rectororian from pushing much further as the Ignite ticks much morphine down. Treos now going to be the one to watch here. Take it low and a flash to blow.
Yeah, but that's 2 flashes and heal pop. That should just be a free Dragon. We're already seeing Nobro Mojo move down, but now topside.
See the initial ultimate here from Super Savior to keep Ramadan low. Neo's on the back end. This is an easily secured kill, and they actually push that one the way of Elise, which I like.
Yeah, I definitely like that kill going to be Elise. She's definitely going to want that. If you're picking up Elise, you want to get some early picks, because otherwise she just sort of falls off and falls behind. And now Gap are moving towards that Dragon after seeing the jungle topside.
So, right, Neo being spotted out gives them complete reassurance that they can come for the take.
But here comes the contest.
Incredible Turk, Treos, and the rest. They try to maybe find some sort of gauge, but without any lineup, no.
Yeah, just a little bit too late on that, as this really massive wave is actually going to be picked up by Ramadan Steve. So still not too terrible, but this Darius is still not where you want him to be. First items, Kindle Gem and Merc Treads. Not exactly someone who's going to start, carrying any fights.
Right, but it does give him the survivability to at least stay contestable in lane here against Super Savior. And yes, he's not going to have the ability to kill Super Savior at any given point. This Tom Kench is way too tanky and has too much forward sustain to keep him in this lane. it's transitioning your success in the lane towards looking towards maybe this mid, a transition with teleport in a team fight, and making your statement as the Darius Ben.
Yeah, 100%. It's about, sort of being that big threat. I'm just worried that maybe as this game goes later, if he doesn't get the right mythic break points around the right fights, it could be tough for Gap in some of these fights if that Tahm Kench is, that much bigger.
Well, hopefully they don't go for anything when they're not quite on the same leveling into these team fights, and it's make or break in some of the situations regarding what is available in terms of Dragon or Control there on the map for any of the major objectives.
Yeah, it's very true. It looks like Herald might be the next fight.
You see it start up, good pullback here onto Neo. You see that Realm Warp on the side. Super Savior going to start this one on the back end, but a counter strike. Make sure that Ramadan goes into a clean guillotine. Now Super Savior is secured for the double. We take a turn towards the bot lane. See the play Treos responds with a Dawning Shadow to keep them both alive, but either way, reminder, that is 2 easy kills secured there onto Ramadan Steve. And this is what I mean. He stayed alive in that lane. He looked good, and he transitions what was an even kind of pull into a good team fight play.
He certainly did, and both of those kills going on to the Darius is massive. That was just beautiful team play out of Gap. You've got the Rise on the flank, so you've got your flank covered, and then you've got a perfectly timed counter strike out of Absolute Beast to stun up that Elise. Really, really great stuff.
And now they do secure that rift, and they're going to throw it towards the top side here. That's going to be crashing in and securing additional gold past the 2 kills secured here for Ramadan Steve. Now, notice he doesn't have any mana, and there is double gank coming back. But in the bot lane here, bullet time onto Much Morphine secures first kill for Rectororian. Ooh, and a flash out of Ramadan Steve makes sure that the rest of the Gap squad stays safe as well.
Yeah, that flash away key to, keeping them safe, and that bot side kill, it was pretty interesting as, Jax Peter missed almost all of his lockdown, but it didn't matter because the bullet time was just so well placed, and Rectorian picking up that kill off the back of just a Leona Q stun to secure it.
Right. For now, though, more major platings taken out here by Gap, and while, yes, the start was looking a bit rough for them, they're able to keep these lanes quite even and now start pushing towards a bit of a gold lead in their favor.
Yeah, a bit of a gold lead. It's about 1.5K, nothing too crazy, not game-breaking, but still notable because it means you're hitting a couple of your item spikes, maybe a minute earlier. And if you're having this Dragon fight in 2 minutes, that could be big.
Right, and that's what you talked about when we discussed what was those uniques, or my apologies, the mythics that might come through and change up the face or the pace of the game. My apologies.
Yeah, his first mythic already on the Rift with this Misfortune picking up her Eclipse. And I think that's really, really big. I like Eclipse a lot on Misfortune, especially if you're going lethality, because it gives you that healing, gives you some of that sustain, while still offering a lot of that punch.
Well, we'll see how that punch comes through here, as Much Morphine might be the next one to be tackled in this bot lane. Remember, the Senna is in no way that hyper carry position just yet. It might not be for at least another 10 minutes till we see something that much more contestable. But now, good route onto Neo here. A repel more than likely going to come through. The spiders block that Q shot and make sure that Neo doesn't go down immediately. Oh! But easy burst from Nobro secures that one.
Yeah, I was not ready for the amount of damage coming out from the empowered Q, as that just chunked out Neod, as now with 45 seconds on the Dragon, this gives them complete river control.
Oh, river control in their favor. 12 seconds, though, until Neod comes back up, and that's plenty of time to make
definitely
a rotation.
contest.
Yeah,
yes.
Easily could contest. You would hope that Gap takes the time to set up the vision, though, and their presence, so that they have most of the control in their favor.
Yeah, 100%. That's sort of what I'd like to see them do. And as we see, Nobra Mojo and Absolute Beast already moving down towards the spot side, securing even more pressure and clearing out a few wards.
Right, you see Nobra taking out that control, and that's exactly what we discussed, playing around that river vision and setting up your own. For now, though, no dredge line found there onto Absolute Beast, which is exactly who you want to take out before you go for any kind of major objective.
Yeah, a bit of an engaged top side.
Oh, for now here, Super Savior is taken out into the map, but we take transition back to mid lane. Dawn of Shadow, Much Morphine securing their first kill in the response bot lane. Ramadan, though, not dying off of that initial swallow, is going to get the return here on to Super Savior.
Yeah, getting that. Now we have another fight still going on.
Top lane in there. It's looking like it's secured by McDonald's Sprite Squad, but at the cost of their entire roster here. Teleport follows up by Ramadan Steven. Much Morphine, the only one to come out alive. Is it worth it?
I don't know if that's worth it because this is total mid pressure. It's going to give them a lot, and it also means kills onto your carries. 2-0-3 on this Jackson, 2-0-2 on the MF. Those are really, really scary champions.
So while, yes, they do find the Infernal into their pocket, which that delays a startup towards Soul, you're trading over 4 members, which in terms of making your carries come into the mid game in a good presence, yeah, that's not something I would like to take.
Yeah, definitely not the best, as it's really in favor of Gap. They've got these advantages on exactly the right players, as really, if you are McDonald's Sprite Squad, you've got to sort of step back. While, yes, you do want this Elise to try and find picks, right now she's just pretty much a stun bot, and you need to make space for your Malzahar to get big, to let your Senna get big, and this Tahm Kench is now weaker than the Darius in the side lane.
It's not what you want to see, especially when you're trying to sustain yourself as a front-heavy engage, right? If you're taken out by the likes of Darius, and granted, he can get his full passive stack up very easily onto Super Savior, and while, yeah, he might be kind of swallowing him back with that ultimate, that's not what you want to be utilizing that for. You want to make sure that you maybe find that onto the apparent carries at a certain point. Now, I will say, McDonald's Sprite Squad does have a lot of available CC to find lockdown into these team fights. I think they went too hard onto that dragon, and its initial damage definitely set them up for failure.
Yes, and they were also walking right into a fully charged bullet time, which is never going to be...
Yeah, the crazy thought, you sit in the bullet time for more than 3 seconds and wow, your health's gone.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's just Gap have these win conditions that are so easy to execute. You know, you land a solar flare and then you press R as the misfortune and bam, the team is dead.
For now, a little bit of more sustaining in this top lane once again. Technically, Darius does have the CS lead, but in terms of gold, he is massively ahead with all those 4 kills, starting around that Rift Herald and continuing forward. So, Gap with high priority here on him.
Yeah, it's certainly been a bit of a snowball for this Darius ever since that, you know, Herald by picking up 2 kills, completely what he needed was like, you know, life support, just getting straight on through, as he is really, really energized and really, really strong moving forward. No one's 21, and now here comes the team.
Realm Warp to start things off, and Super Savior once again escaping through the back, and they're onto the blue side, and they don't secure any kind of kill, but they don't, actually they did blow Flash in response to that, so Ramadan not having that available now.
Yeah, and that's not great. Again, you want this Darius to be able to apply pressure with that Flash threat, but now it looks like a potential 3v3.
Neon, the first one to look low there. Flash going to make sure the counter-strike doesn't land. Good double knockup from Super Savior here, but he's going to be punished out in the form of his health. This does take Gap away from Rift Herald for the time being, though.
It does take them away from Herald, but now for Torning Jax Peters moving up, this is really going to be Gap's Herald, and they're looking to transition this into mid-pressure, which I really like. It's Incredible Kirk, you know, without Flash is looking a little dicey.
They're going to be able to secure the Rift Herald, I'm more than sure, and they put that on to Absolute Beast, who is actually going to be falling for the back. I was hoping that they might push this one mid, secure those extra plates, and with Rectorian Jax Peter there to play around it, that's a lot of good gold to put on your carry.
It is a lot of gold to get down. I mean, plates are already gone. It's after 14 minutes, but fortunately for them, they want to try and get that.
Looking at this, we do see knockup here from Super Savior, and it doesn't secure any kind of kill onto Absolute Beast, but it does push them out of lane.
Yeah, and I am getting word from our producers that we're going to have to just take a quick second to allow for a couple announcements here at the venue.
All right. All right, Snuggle Buddy Challenge. If you heard that one out, you might want to be making your way towards that Rocket League table. As for us here on the desk, we're going to be back to League of Legends here, second round, and we come back to a Rift Herald secured, but a route onto Ramadan Steve that starts off this major fight, but a good bullet time in the blue buff. Make sure that everyone has to back away here. Still, Gap looking worse for wear. A great nether grass to secure the second kill here onto Neon. And while McDonald's Sprite Squad looks low, they come out on top.
Yeah, they come out on top. The Jax just wasn't in that fight, trying to recontest.
Trying to find his way back in with the counter-strike and wall. Yes, he does find return kill. Novarel and Ratorian are able to lock down the rest. It's a full team ace, in spite of the early sustained kills.
I mean, that was insane. They lose 2 members and still come back in, and that's just confidence in your team, security in your teammates, as understanding they have the damage, they have everything they need, and now they're going for the Baron.
Here's the thing. You have to take a look at this replay.
Yeah, as...
Oh, never mind. We might be taking a look at the replay just yet. There we go.
As this is really just insane. We see the bullet time come down. You lose the Leona, you lose the Darius. These frontliners just going down immediately. But the thing is, everyone is so low. And you know who thrives in that environment? Rise and Misfortune, just getting off this bonus damage from their passives. Yeah. As right here, we're going to see a beautiful 4-man counter-strike that just secures the fight.
Yeah, that is the best part of this entire contest here. Absolute Beast coming in for a hard leap into that counter-strike. And I'll be honest, they got the cocoon. They found the lockdown before he was able to find that leap strike. They just weren't able to take him out. So easily secured the start there. And like you said, Nobro on that rise. Low health champions are one of his favorite things. He sustains rise, simple EQ, 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 and that's all they had to do.
That's it. You just keep getting those resets, and it is a good time if you're Nobro Mojo. As during that replay, they were not able to pick up the Baron Gap, but it looks like, you know, with these champions being so strong, they can really start to push together as a team and try and force some of these objectives.
Currently, right now, not a lot of major turrets have been taken down. We're looking at that mid lane. That will really open up the map here. But it's going to take a team fight or some kind of contest around one of these major objectives. For now, though, Super Saver, he doesn't care. He wants to get rid of top lane.
Yeah, he does, and it's gone. I mean, you can't really kill a Tom Kench. That's sort of why he's on bench and why he's so strong. He's just almost unkillable, and against most champs can really just walk them down, as it looks like he's maybe trying to just see if he's being challenged. Not sure.
Maybe looking for some kind of consistency regarding the split in the top lane. He wants to keep himself in the presence there. And, you know, he doesn't have teleport, but it doesn't really matter because he can either make a quick rotation down to Baron, or by the time the Dragon is up here in 2 minutes, 46 seconds, he's already got teleport back up.
Yeah, exactly. You know, teleport's only about a minute away. He will have access to that summoner spell. Darius won't, so they're going to have to play as a team. Neon just missed, but having to flash away.
No big flash, though. Counter-strike here. A bullet time's going to push off the back of his curtain. Loses his nether grass. The kill is secured here on Neon, and another one popping Absolute Beast up to 6-0.
Yeah, as this is a massive Jackson. Getting rid of the jungler, that's sort of a great indicator, a green light, if you will, towards that Baron. Now, there's still 4 members up. It's not going to be easy, but it's certainly the next objective on Gap's mind.
Well, they don't make a rotation just yet. Taking it 4v5, while it is an advantage, especially with that jungler down, they don't quite have that confidence to go for the full dive just yet, especially without priority in mid completely.
Absolutely. It is tough. And, you know, I'm going to say props to McDonald's Sprite Squad, how far behind they are. They are playing this game very, very well. They're rotating at just the right times. They're keeping their damage alive. And a lot of these fights have been really close for a good reason. You know, these haven't just been complete wipes. It hasn't just been standing in a bullet time. It's been really, really well executed specific points, with Gap just coming ahead on a couple of them.
Coming ahead on a couple of them is enough to put Jax 6-0-5, all right?
Yes.
I don't know if that's just a couple ahead of him at this point. They're looking mighty strong, and you've got people like the Rise now starting to be way more contestable into the mid and late game, looking much, much stronger in more of a carried form. And now with that magic damage online, a bit of a mix is going to make it very hard to stay, you know, at least in the forward position for some of the carries, or at least the front lines like Treos and Super Savior.
Yeah, it's really, really going to be tough. I mean, Rise really comes online once you get that Archangels, and it is fully stacked. He is massive, and now this Misfortune has access to Stormrazor. It's pretty interesting. It's really just going for sort of like that one auto, one tap, big chunk of damage build, which I think is really, really solid here because you have plenty of DPS out of the Rise, as now it looks like they're setting up for this dragon spawning in 40 seconds and maybe going for a fight.
And they start off here. They don't find the Counter-Strike off of good Cocoon, but the Solar Flare is going to make sure that Treos is taken out here. And with that mid lane turret down as well, they have free range to walk through this jungle now.
Yeah, complete control now. Super Savior is on the top side, split pushing, and it is going to force the TP out of Nobro Mojo. Not sure how much I like this, because now one of your main damage threats is off the Rift for this dragon.
Incredible Kirk and Neod. And that would have been the time to look for some form of lockdown, because now the flash, back end, bullet time, not really hitting anywhere they want.
Yeah, not doing too much at all, as Super Savior is sort of running down Nobro Mojo.
Finds good knockup. Realm Warp gonna come through here, hopefully, but not quite, as the stun locked him down. Into the mouth of the catfish she goes, and an easy shutdown in response.
Yeah, and that's why I really didn't like the Rise going up to contest. He can, while you might have 2 items and you can blow up squishies, this is still, you know, it's still top catch. It's still just going to be massive, and he can just run you down with those tongue slaps galore.
I did like the play around the Realm Warp. He tried to find a way out, but it was far too late. He already given him too much access, and hopefully that's a lesson to all here on Gap, that you really never want to take that 1v1. Meanwhile, though, Dragon was secured, so they take their way to Soul Point, so 1 away from securing a massive soul advantage with 3 of the mountains to stack upon.
Yeah, 3 Mountain Drakes is really significant, and sort of one little thing to note is that there's no real assassins or mixed bruisers on the side of McDonald's Sprite Squad that would run something like a Serpent's Fang to help cut through those shields, as it's really just going to be looking for raw damage. And while Senna's really good at that and Malzahar's not bad, it's still not the easiest. Is this going to be a Realm Warp over into the Baron Pit?
I don't know if they thought someone might have been there. They didn't have the vision available, but looking at how they were all stacked up as 5, it almost felt like they thought that McDonald's Sprite Squad happened to be there, but they weren't.
Yeah, as now the Senna's back at base, and this Baron's going down really quickly. You've got to contest if you're McDonald's Sprite Squad, otherwise it's just gone.
So a Baron slipping through the hands here of McDonald's Sprite Squad, but maybe the fight afterwards will secure them back some points here. Ramadan Steve trying to sustain this one out. And nope, no axe or guillotine's going to keep this man alive. Next to go, Absolute Beast, Jax Peter. They might have found the Baron, but at the cost of 3 members.
Yeah, and the big problem with that fight is Rectorian had already finished the back by the time that the turnarounds came through. So that means you're missing your damage, you're missing that bullet time, and you can't even try to turn this fight.
I'll be honest, I really didn't want to see any of them stick around after that Baron. You're playing with the passive and the like. You're already weak from some of the damage. You might have expelled some of the windows pushing out that Baron. So you're obviously in a poor situation. Ooh. Nobro Major able to burst down Super Savior here. Maybe get some revenge.
Yeah, maybe get some revenge. I will say, pretty big pickup getting those Sork boots. That extra bit of Magic Pen can go a long way against someone who's fully armor itemized. But it's still, you know, going to be tough if you keep giving away these kind of positions as Gap. You know, McDonald's Sprite Squad have plenty of ways back into this game. This could be one of them.
But not now, as that bullet time to make short work here of McDonald's Sprite Squad. He's a transfer French line deep. Ramadan Steve in this back line, and he's rooted out, but not before Jax Peter is down here. They continue to chase him through. Absolute Beast is down. Back line finds his way. Counter-strike down. Kill onto Kirk. He's going to be pulled back at the cost of Treos' death. Super Savior might have teleported in, but it is far too late. A triple kill here found for Ramadan Steve.
And that is massive, as Gap are once again securely in the driver's seat by turning that fight. I mean, that bullet time just shredding everybody was so insane. And now with Baron in hand, they'll be able to just march down this mid lane.
Right? They still have some of those members available with that Baron buff, notably Rectorian and Nobro. So splitting it in half, 2-on-2, they're able to knock down both the inside and hopefully what is the defense here around these inhibs.
Yeah, if they can get these inhib towers, and they are just gone. I mean, so much damage. Don't know if they'll be able to get the inhibitors themselves, but those towers nonetheless are plenty.
And this is opening up the map for potential contestants regarding a split push or trying to rush down that inhib if you have the opportunity. We haven't seen something like that from the squad of Gap. They tend to play a bit more on the team fight oriented side, but who knows? It is an available win condition.
Yeah, it certainly is an available win condition. It's a way to play the game, and I really like it. I mean, with these two open inhibs, any kill can just sort of turn into base pressure.
And I'll be honest, McDonald's Sprite Squad, they got played a little bit of the fiddle there. That bullet time really set them up for failure, but hey, playing into what was a choke there on clearing vision early, it just feels bad.
Yeah, it really does just feel tough. I mean, you're hoping to try and find a pick, get yourself an advantageous fight, and then boom, bang, come out the bullets, and your team is just gone. I mean, just how low this is close, though. This could be a big fight. Soul's coming up, but I don't think they realize that Super Savior's on the side.
Well, they did just see the tongue come out of the bush.
I
hope that'd be the start, but a knock-up onto Rectorian might be the end here for Gap. Rooted over the wall. The rest of the squad here wants to try to find the back line. Meanwhile, Bullet Time takes Trails low to secure that first kill. Ramadan doesn't sign the second guillotine, though, so that's reset gone. Shutdown is found eventually here on Rectorian on the back end, but the rest of the McDonald's Sprite Squad might be caught out by this great Wellmore. Flash over the wall, goes deep, pulled back by the axe. Ramadan Steve just absolutely massive with another kill.
Another kill indeed, as right now, this is really big. It looks like this should be Soul confirmed as well as an inhibitor. And that is just such a massive swing.
Much Morphine is on the back end here to make sure that Ramadan just can't quite walk it down that easily. But with that wave crashing sometime soon here, I could imagine the Gap squad kind of reeling that one back in.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, but I mean, now with Mountain Soul in hand, that is a permanent buff. Those are permanent stats that are just going to be massive, quite honestly. There's really nothing that can cut through it on the side of McDonald's Sprite Squad except for Vicenna. But if Senna's having to cut through 5 people that are really pretty tanky, it's gonna be a tough time.
The crazy thing is we did get to see the lockdown potential from McDonald's Sprite Squad there. They had the CC available. You saw a great start on to finding Rectorian, and Rectorian did officially fall at a certain point into that fight, but they didn't have the damage to follow it. We can attribute that, of course, to a bit of the poor early game, but also losing, of course, those mountains, like we talked about, makes the difference between the 100 or so health that keeps people like Rectorian alive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you don't have, those mountain drakes, those stats, he's dead 10 out of 10 times. Exactly. And that little difference can sometimes just really change these games and blow them wide open, as now Realm Warp.
Maybe looking for Neod here. Over the wall, they would have to go. Wreck with the slow, repel up in the air. He's gonna try to take the wreck, but there's no way to find a kill there.
Yeah, no way out. I mean, this Elise has had a really tough time this game just trying to find openings, but with such massive players as they are on Gap, it is tough.
For now, though, they take a turret to like for themselves.
Yeah, they take a turret and are looking to try and close out this game as quickly as possible. No Baron in hand, but spawning in just 10 seconds.
For now, on the back end, nothing too crazy. Knockup not found here by Super Savior. They're going to get the full offense. He's already forced to pop that gray health. A good knockup from Treos keeps Rectorian out of getting that full bullet time here. And while, yes, Super Savior is looking low, Absolute Beast might go down first. Another grass suppression to make sure he does.
And that's a one fight for McDonald's Sprite Squad. That was, or I guess you could call it a 1-for-1 if you count Neon getting picked off. But quite honestly, it's really on Gap for not having a more solid fight. They left their misfortune alone and just let some of these tanks wreak havoc on their backline.
Right, so you didn't have the suppression of that bullet time like we've seen in most of these fights, and so what was something that looked good at the start of an engage didn't follow up all the way through. And personally, if you're starting with hard engage onto Super Savior of all people, more than likely you're wasting a lot of windows on someone who's not going to go down.
That's very, very true. I mean, that's always been Tom Kench's sort of thing. You have that gray health, which means you can effectively have 2 health bars if someone's trying to burst you down. You can just pop that massive shield, and it means that many more resources getting used on you instead of your team.
Oh, for now, either way, while Gap didn't find what they wanted here onto the base, Baron is up, and they might be able to re-ent that one again.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the direction they're looking. It's the easiest way to try and close out this game as the Senna's getting bigger and bigger. She's potentially going to become that hyper carry threat that will really sort of blow this game open for McDonald's Sprite Squad. But Gap still having, really, really solid members as the Realm warp into the pit.
Right, they once again find the Realm, and they're going to clear out the vision here. Hopefully not start this one up, as we did see what happens last time if you start a little bit early there. And no Solar Flare to continue this fight when out. Big Blast Cone, though, into the bullet time. And while, yes, they find the knockup, it's not before Treos goes down. Absolute Beast Ramadan into this backline. Much morphine gone. A guillotine to follow for a double. One member left, but a full ace here. Oh, not quite. It's going to be the flash to secure the full ace as a triple finds way over to Absolute Beast. And they're just going to walk this one down.
Yeah, they can walk it down. It's not quite a full ace. Incredible Kirk just sort of ran away from that fight, but I don't see a single Malzahar being able to withstand the power of this Gap squad as they're looking to finish this game.
Already one, now two inhibitors, my apologies, left here for McDonald's Sprite Squad. And with these both waves crashing, it's more than likely that this is it.
Yeah, and this is going to be it. Gap will be taking down McDonald's Sprite Squad, really going against our predictions, but in very convincing fashion.
That is true. I forgot that we made those predictions at the very beginning here, but hey, Gap deserves it. And while, yes, I loved the competition from McDonald's Sprite Squad, they weren't actually able to put the damage where they wanted, and that's at the consequence of certain picks there. You come through with the Senna and the like, and those aren't things that come online till a lot later. So being stunted in that growth really came back to bite.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that Malzahar is sort of, again, that lockdown pick, but he didn't have the damage to bring these mid-game fights. And when you're running into a Darius that gets ahead and you're running into some of these other massive picks, it's so tough to deal with.
Well, officially here, Gap being our second victor on the official stream. We're going to be making our way towards our third round of the night. So stick around and stay tuned for some exciting action.